Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, baby. I do apologize for this strange angle that I am recording on. The reason why I have to record like this right now is because I just moved to a bigger and better place. I'm not recording on my ottoman due to the simple fact that a lot of my furniture could not fit at the moment. So, you know, my table that I normally record on is not here with us right now. RIP to the soul of my table. It is coming back very shortly. So the reason why is simply because there's no other way that I can record. I have to use all my recording equipment over here on my ottoman. I apologize. If there was something I could do about it, I would have already done it. Sorry, you guys, but it's not going to stop me from making videos. So what I have for you today is pure Crusadias. Now, it's a very cool deck. You know, it's awesome. I love it. I've seen the play style. I've kind of just learned how it works. And in general, it's a very, very solid deck. Solid contender. It is a very good meta deck as well, being very budget and anti-meta in a sense. There is another variant that I have for it, which is World Legacy Crusadia Mech Knights. Definitely stay tuned for that. I really wanted to capitalize on some of the beneficial equite mods, some of the hybrid variations and attributes that you can do with the deck. A lot of different ways you could play it. I've seen pretty much the same list over and over and over and over and over very repetitively, and I wanted to bring you guys something a little fresh, a little different. It's not too far-fetched and it's not too, you know, different from the norm. It's just not a confirmation, it's a transformation. So let's hop into the list. So first and foremost, you know I'm playing 3 Maximus, bro, hands down. There's without a doubt. If you're playing less, I'm wondering why not. Like, why would you not play 3 of this card? It is the OTK maker. I wouldn't say OTK maker because you can OTK without it. Trust me, you can. But it just makes the OTK so much easier to do. And in general, that's all this deck cares about. I love that this deck just kind of just ignores everything. There's really no bad matchup. This deck just doesn't really care what it's playing, and it just focuses on what it's doing. So you don't really have to worry about what your opponent is doing to you. I do recommend you play the appropriate hand traps, of course, still, but this deck just is so savage that it doesn't really care what deck it's playing against. It's going to OTK you, and that's what it does, and it just does that very well. I love it. Then I also play triple Draco. Draco allows me to play some of the cards that I prefer to play at 1, very comfortably at 1. And when I say comfortably, I mean that even though I only play 1 and I might have resolved it and I might want to see it again, I can easily fetch it back with Draco, which is really good. Sometimes you got to discard cards with nightmares, stuff like that. You know, if it ever comes up, sometimes you have to discard and then add that same card back. It's never a problem, you know, using Draco. Draco's just a really, really good card in general, allowing you to chain block, play around everything but Valor and Impermanence. And then continuing with the monster count, I do play triple Reclusia. Reclusia is a very interactive card, not necessarily reactive, because reactive is more or less responding to what your opponent does, but it's a very interactive card. It gives you kind of that synergy that you need to go first. My deck is built for going second or first. Going first, I'm going to either set up a topo play where I can have the Reclusia be summoned on topo, and I'll be able to like pop their back row and then blow up their monsters, and still have the, you know, the basic plays that the deck wants to do. Or also I can set up with like an Equimax, for example, plus the trap, so I'll have a pop and a negation. But either way, you're always going to set up multiple negations because it's going to be the trap plus something else. And the trap's always going to bring out Reclusia. If you're going second and there's still something in your way, you can easily just out it. But you're probably going to have the twin or the red reboot for the floodgates. So Reclusia would be more or less just that one monster that you could not Kaiju, for example. I do play triple Arborea. I believe that's how you pronounce it, or it's Arborea, or however you say it, but I believe it's Arborea. Something that's really interesting about this card is that it is a tuner. It is extremely accessible. So when Link, what's his name? Not Link, but when Needle Fiber comes out, this deck is going to be easily, consistently making Needle Fiber just by opening with any 2 Crusadias. Basically just, you know, for example, you can open with Reclusia and Reclusia. You can normal Reclusia, link it into Magius, special Reclusia, trigger Magius' effect to search Arborea, and then you can make your Needle Fiber because Arborea is a tuner. So you're like going to be able to turbo Needle Fiber once it comes out, if it does come out. And that's just something interesting I wanted to point out. What she does is obviously offer that protection for all of your Crusadias, kind of like a Return of the Dragon Lords. The fact that it doesn't activate means that it doesn't start chain links, and it can basically resolve in the middle of chain links resolution. So it's a really good card. It's never going to miss timing, really. And I also play 3 Leonis and not 2. I do not play 3 of it because I like his effect. I play 3 of it because I like consistently opening up with 2 Crusadia monsters. That's all you really need for this deck, is to open with 2, because one's going to make Magius, the other's going to trigger Magius to search your Ecomax or any other Crusadia monster that you're missing for your combo pieces. So opening with 2 Crusadias is very important because you cannot really OTK with only 1. The only time would be, for example, if you spear mode your opponent, they gave you a mermaid, you turn it into a mermaid and special summon that 1 Crusadia and try to go off from there. But it's very difficult to do with 1. Long story short, that is why I play 15 Crusadias, maxing out on them, right? There's no reason to not maximize on them. Even if you don't like certain effects, you have to play them for the name's sake, because any Crusadia can make Magius. And Magius is kind of how you get your stuff started up, how you get your play started, start chain blocking. So 15 Crusadias for me, never gonna play less. I do play hand traps because I do like going second, and while this deck doesn't really care what you're doing, I do not like being hit with degenerate things, and by degenerate, I just mean very one-sided, very unfair. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to play pairs of hand traps, because with this deck, I don't want to draw too many of a certain card, I don't want to draw multiple of the same name, and I don't want to draw too many hand traps in general. I'd like to draw at least 1 or 2. So I play 2 Ash Blossoms, I play 2 Ghost Ogres, I play 2 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries. No, I do not play Bells. Even though Bell for the rematch is incredible, I actually play Drone Lockbirds instead, because Bell is specifically more or less for the Goki matchup, and when you consider these first 6 hand traps, these are very, very good in the Goki matchup. What I like about Droll is it's incredible against the True Draco matchup, which True Dracos can be very difficult if they start snowballing into Demise, Duality, Desires, plussing off of Disciples and Heritage and Diagrams, and just kind of just sitting there and you're just watching them play Solitaire. Joan Lockbird effectively turns their turn off, and if they did not draw an amazing hand, you're just going to OTK them anyways. And I mean, regardless, even if you don't have the Droll, if you have a reboot, you could just reboot their traps and OTK them. If they're literally, there's nothing they can do to stop the reboot. They're done for the turn. The first floodgate they flip, you reboot it, and you kill them anyway. So this deck has an incredible Draco matchup. If you're going to comment goes in match, I'm going to reply reboot. If you're going to comment Rivalry of the Warlords, I'm going to reply reboot. That's why we play reboots for the Dracos, but I also still wanted to have the Drolls, so you have multiple ways to stop them in their tracks. So I play 8 hand traps, 2 of each. I found that it was perfect. I don't have very many good Cherries targets. I think the only other one that I would like to incorporate is the Kagari, but I do not have a Kagari because I don't care too much for Sky Strikers. If you notice, I haven't played any Sky Strikers. I don't have any Sky Striker decks on my channel because I just don't care too much for the deck. That's just me. And then I play 5 Kaijus. Now, if I had 3 of him, I'd play 3 of him, and I'd also play 3 of the Thunder King, but I only have 1 of him. That is the reason. So if your question is 3 stacks, why not play this one at, you know, multiples and stuff like that? My reply is I only have 1, bro. So I have 1 of him, I have 1 of the Dino, 1 of the Raijin, and 2 Gandoras. I find that it's not smart and ideal to play the little Kaijus. Why? Because you're not going to have an issue with attacking over them anyways. It doesn't matter which Kaiju it gives your opponent in terms of you being able to beat over it. What does matter is the increments of attacks that you're giving to your Equamax. Remember that you can Kaiju your opponent and put the Kaiju in their column 2 or their column 4. Why is that important, 3 stacks? Because if you put this guy in their column number 2 and summon your Equamax here, he's going to get a 3,300 surplus in addition to all the other attack that he's gaining from the other monsters that you have that he's pointing to. That's very important because obviously Equamax is your OTK maker. So why would you not give him a 3,300 surplus to be able to beat over that Kaiju and every other monster that they have? So yes, it is ideal to play bigger Kaijus. I know my boy Joe Leia was playing just the 3 Gamma Seals, but I think that it's not very smart to play the smaller Kaijus because the higher attack value that you can give your Equamax, it's just a lot easier to perform the OTK. So I play the biggest Kaijus that I have. And I only play 5. I think 6 is just doing too much. And I also play 0 board wipes because I want my opponent to have monsters. That's how you naturally OTK, by attacking your opponent's monsters. One of my spicy techs, well, I'll just drop my spicy techs right here. I do play 2 Indigo Eclipse and 1 World Armor. Now, there's no actual Crusadia list that plays these, and I think that there's a good reason for playing these, and here is my logic. I'll explain it because people are going to sit here right now, make a cringe face, drop a bad comment, and, you know, stop watching the video. So the reason why I play the 2 Indigo Eclipse is because it allows you to get an extra increment of 2,400 attack for your Equamax. What do you mean, 3 stacks? How do you do that? Because in order to meet the conditions for summoning this card, we all know how you summon Ignites. You can summon it in wherever column that there's multiple cards in the same column. You can do that yourself just by setting a spell or trap in one of your columns, You Kaiju your opponent. There's one card in this column. The Kaiju is there. So their Kaiju that you've given them is here. You have your spell or trap set there, unless they already have back row, which will help you. You summon your Indigo Eclipse. You can either use it as an extension to make your Equal-Max, which helps you because if you read Equal-Max, he doesn't actually say 2+ Crusadia monsters. It just says 2+ effect monsters, including a link. So you can either use him to help you to make Equal-Max, or, which what I love to do is, I make Equal-Max, summon this guy, move him to Equal-Max's zone, because if you read him, let me read you Indigo Eclipse's effect. Besides the summoning, once per turn, you can target one Mech Knight monster you control, move that to another of your main monster zones. It doesn't specify which main monster zone, just a main monster zone. So what you just done is you have given Equal-Max a surplus of 5,700 attack. You've given him 33 plus the 24. Do you understand that this man is already at 7,700 attack and he's still going to get stronger? So if you're asking 3 stacks, why do you play Indigo Eclipse? That is exactly why I play Indigo Eclipse, because he helps to contribute to my OTK. Now my next question is, Crusadia players, why do you not play Indigo Eclipse? Because it's an incredible card. It's a high ceiling card. It helps you to do what the deck is supposed to do. And at bare minimum, it is another body that you need for your link summoning, for your OTKs, as an extension to your plays. It's a very good card, and it dodges certain card effects as well. And then the reason why I play the One World Armor is because when I'm forced to go first, it kind of just increases my ceiling playing this card. Being able to summon it off of Vanguard, if you read the text of Vanguard, you can actually summon World Legacy cards off of it. You can summon Armor. Armor gets its effect if it's normal or special summon. It adds one World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. What that's really good for is searching out your succession so that you have a follow-up. It's very important to be able to search your follow-ups, because if this deck does go into the grind, I noticed that the pure variants of Crusadias are horrible in the grind matches. They're very horrible because they're not built to last. They're not very durable. They're just kind of trying to end the game in one turn, and if they can't do that, there's not very much that they can do as follow-ups. I like that my Crusadia deck is durable, built to last, it has follow-ups, and it has plays to make going first or second. So that is why I play the One World Armor and the 2 Indigo Eclipses. For my spells, I play Triple Desires. All of your Crusadia monsters at 3. You play 5 Kaijus. The 1-ups that you can banish actually are so irrelevant. Even banishing the One World Armor, it's so irrelevant. It's not like it's going to hurt you. This is just a win more card. Win more cards are not necessary, but are very, very nice to have. You know, there's not very many things that I can think that would hurt. And the one of Crusadia spells or traps that I would hate to banish would naturally just probably, you know, just the quick play and the trap. The field spell I can live without. I can honestly live without this card. I can OTK without it. I promise you I can. So I really just don't want to banish these, but because they're searchable through your 2-card combos, you can actually get these out of your deck first before your Desires. But also consider it this way. If you already have the OTK and you have a Desires in your hand, play that Desires, bait the Ash Blossom out, and OTK them, and it doesn't matter what you banish because you already have the OTK. I played 2 World Legacy Succession. It is a hard once per turn, and because it's not a +1 like Desires is, I find that there's no necessary reason to play 3 of this card. I don't want to brick, I don't want to clog it, and it is searchable as well, which is really nice. I also play a pair of Twin Twisters because I don't want to go second against a Floodgate heavy deck and not have the answers to it, seeing that, you know, I'm giving my opponent the opportunity to go first every single game. And then the one of Crusadia spells, I play 1 Power and 1 Revival. I considered playing the second Power because Power is incredible. And if you do get forced into the grind, which can happen because some decks are just so good that you can't OTK them all the time. And it just happens because they have all the answers. Regardless of if you open the answers, they have the answers as well. You kind of go into what we call a simplified game state where both of us are kind of pushing. Both of us are trying to get over one another. Both of us are kind of low on resources, trying to find a way to overcome this challenge. And the second Power is definitely clutch. But at the same time, you can always Draco it back. It just, sometimes I don't have access to Draco, and I just like being able to search the second copy with Magias. But you still play them at 1. And then for the traps, I played 3 traps. I played 2 reboots and 1 Vanguard. Vanguard's incredible for going first. It has so many applications and interactions with this deck. It's crazy. I can set up for my topo plays with this. Because when you have the God Hand and you open so many Crusadias, you can just make topo, you guys. And you literally just Crusadia Vanguard and topo your opponent's field. It's really good. But reboots more or less for Dracos and Altergeist. Really, these 4 cards are for Dracos and Altergeist. When it comes down to Altergeist, there's not very many hand traps that can actually hurt them. I guess in hindsight, I should put a Hextia in my extra deck. But at the same time, what spells or traps do I really like need to resolve? None of them actually. They're just nice to resolve. There's a need to know and a nice to know, and these are just nice to resolve and not need to resolve. Twin is just, you know, really good against Dracos, really good against Altergeists. Normally, if you flip a reboot, that's why I think I really want to do 3 reboots instead of just 2 and 2. Maybe keep the Twin at 2, find a card to cut, play 3 reboots, because Altergeists and Dracos are so prevalent right now, and if you can just reboot them, you're going to kill them. Their main interruptions are just going to be hand traps now, and you chain block. So if they don't have a Veiler, they're just not going to stop you. For our extra deck, 2 Magius and 2 Regilex and 1 Equimax. Now, unfortunately, I only have 1 Equimax right now, so what I've been doing is I've been using that Draco, son. I've been using that Draco to put my Equimax back into my extra deck when it comes up. But naturally, I resolve 1 Equimax per duel because I actually OTK very much with this deck, as most Crusadia players do. So you should be playing 2 of each, but I only have 1, but Draco helps. We have 1 Topo, we have 1 Griffin, we have 1 Unicorn, 1 Trishbania. Trishbania is another card that helps. One of the funniest things ever is when you make this card, when your opponent forces you to go first, right? You make this card against back row heavy decks like Draco, Altergeist, or Stun, and you have Vanguard. You literally flip Vanguard during their end phase, special Reclusia, or any Draco that you want. Get its effect as Chainlink 2 and Chainlink 1 Trishbania, and you basically just freaking banish their full set 5. Even for Paleos, if they set 5, you make this turn 1, right? Especially when they make you go first. Obviously, we're in side decking now. We know what we're playing. And I'm going to make Topo turn 1, and I'm just literally going to flip that trap, summon one of my Crusadias, any one that I want. It could be even World Armor if I need the follow-up of World Legacy Succession. I'm going to trigger Trishbania's effect, banish that monster that I summon after I get its effect on a separate chain link, and banish your entire back row, which if you set 5 and I make this, you just lose. So this card is such a high ceiling card. I find that if you're not playing it in Crusadias, you should. Then we have some Baby Nightmares, and I also have Underclock because it just helps me so much. If I'm in a situation where I hand trap my opponent to the point where they could not extra link me, but they still do the Tri-Gate board and they give me the Ibly, I just normal turn the Ibly and the Underclock and turn the Ibly and my monster into Underclock. You know, I proceed with my plays from there and just try to bait the Tri-Gate. And naturally, what I'll do is I'll summon one of my Crusadias. If they don't negate it with Tri-Gate, I'll have to probably waste my battle phase, use the Underclock, target this, and I'll try to beat over one of their monsters. But that is the worst case scenario. Then we have Winter Cherry's targets. I chose Firewall, Totally, and Mechaba. Mechaba because Invoke Mech Knights are so predominantly powerful. Firewall for Gokis, Extra Link Dex. Firewall is in a lot of extra decks, believe it or not. Totally awesome because the fear of Helios is more than the fear of Altergeist. I am more scared to go up against Paleos than Altergeist because I respect Paleos as the dominant trap deck. It's a lot more powerful than Altergeist could ever be, unfortunately true. For that reason, that's why I chose Toad over Hexia. Toad can negate anything. Hexia only negates spells or traps. And as you look, most of my spells or traps don't need to resolve. They're actually here to kind of just, you know, help me for my pushes. But most importantly, Hexia can't even negate this, and that's all I care about in the Altergeist matchup anyways. So that concludes the deck profile, you guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. I appreciate y'all for supporting my channel. Please bear with me as I record in this awkward angle for probably like a couple more days, hopefully. And also, thank you guys so much for your time out of your day, for showing love to me and to my channel, for supporting me through this long journey as a Yu-Gi-Tuber, and, you know, for keeping it real with me. I know that I'm not the best, and I never ever, you know, act like I am. I know my place. I know I'm not, you know, the best. I'm probably not even like, if you could put me in a tier, I'm probably not even tier 2. I'm like a tier 3 Yu-Gi-Tuber, if you could put a tier on it. But you know what? People still mess with me, you know. They still love my channel. People still support my dream, and I really do appreciate that. You guys are very loyal to me, so I try my best to, you know, show some love in return. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, you guys. I've got a lot more content coming for you. Probably either tomorrow or the next day. Bear with me. I do work 6 days a week. But thank you guys again, and peace out, yo.